So today we are going to talk about like the next example of ifนะครับ, and then we just like move on the nested if function. We'll move on the nested if function. So let's just go to our last example that I asked you to calculate the thingsนะครับ, especially for the commission rate that you did on last classนะครับ. So in this oneนะครับ, on last class I asked you to give the commission to the sales representative of the company. We found that for finding นะครับ or to put some values in นะครับ into a specific cell นะครับ according to the condition or the criteria that is set up, we normally use function, the if function to help. We normally use the if function to help. Okay, so on last class, when we talk about the if function, if we have just like one logical test only, we will normally use the basic if. For example, on last class I asked you to give the commission rate 10%. If the sales amount is more than $1 million, otherwise give 5%. In this case, you can see that we have just like one logical test or one decision making for the sales amount that is more than $1 million. So that's why when we have to set up the if function, just the basic if is enough. So one more tool that I can suggest to you when you have to just prepare the if function is Notepad นะครับ or text edit in Mac นะครับ. So let's see, I'll just like show you when I normally prepare the if function. I normally use the Notepad program in Microsoft Windows นะครับ so in this one, okay, let me just like show you. The Notepad here นะครับ is useful because you can just like type and then make all the functions that you have in different lines before you make a decision that whether it's correct or not นะครับ for example, in here you can see that whenever we have to compare the sales amount นะครับ with $1 million นะครับ to give the commission rate, we do like this. I just type, okay, hang on. If and then I know that I have to compare the sales amount. Sales amount is located in for James. His sales amount is located in the cell H16 นะครับ. Then I'll compare H16 with 1 million. So when I compare sales amount with 1 million, I know that, okay, from the flow chart that I showed you on last class, you can see that when we compare with more than 1 million, I just put more than 1 million. Okay. This is the logical test. H16 is greater than 1 million. After that, นะครับ for the value if true, we say that we give 10% นะครับ if the sales amount is more than $1 million, then I put 10% as the value if true. Then I put comma. For value if false, I give 5%. Okay. So you can see that right now our if function is completed already. If you check for your if functions and you found that, oh, this one is what you want, then you just like put them back into the same line and then close parenthesis. After that, you just copy this formula and go to put it in here. when you have the functions or any formula in the notepad or text edit นะครับ on Mac and then you want to copy it into your Excel นะครับ my suggestion is that you don't just click and then paste straight away นะครับ you better double click on the cell once you double click on the cell and then you paste you will see how the function works what cells that functions are referring to นะครับ like this one first and if it's correct then you just press enter and then you just copy to other cells like this so this one is just like the tool that I suggested to you นะครับ so before we move on นะครับ to the nested if นะครับ I'll just let you do another example นะครับ I just like want you to practice on another example so in this one นะครับ assume that we have a table นะครับ we have a table to just like think about the day that we have class or not นะครับ assume that we have the table like this so in this one you just talk about the weekdays and the status whether we have class or not so I want you to just like create a blank table like this first นะครับ and then I'll just let you do to fill up these cells by using if function นะครับ okay so on the right hand side table นะครับ on the right hand side table assume that นะครับ you have to fill up the table นะครับ on the left hand side นะครับ with for the column C first okay for the column C let's see what to fill up this one it relates to the cell I have no class on นะครับ in the cell F24 on my screen นะครับ assume that you just like put the day that you don't have class for example you say that oh I don't have class on Friday you just put Friday in here นะครับ so what do I want you to do นะครับ the things I want you to do is that I want you to fill up the table นะครับ the first table in column C นะครับ I want you to consider นะครับ the second table in the cell F24 and justify the blank cell in column C นะครับ on the day that you have class นะครับ for example in this example Friday is a day that you don't have class then I want you to use the if function นะครับ to fill up the table like this on Monday to Thursday นะครับ in the example here because I have class นะครับ when I use the if function to compare the day that I have class that I have no class I found that on Monday to Thursday I have class while Friday I have no class นะครับ you can see that in here it said Friday I have no class so in the table the first table column C on Monday to Thursday it will show as have class and Friday it shall have no class นะครับ so I want you to use if function นะครับ to compare นะครับ the day that you have class นะครับ with the day on the first table and showing that okay which day you have class with which day you have no class นะครับ I want you to do this that is the first part the second part assume that on the day that you have class นะครับ your parents give you around let's say 500 baht นะครับ on the day that you have class so what does it mean in this one let me take some notes on the day that you have class นะครับ you get 500 baht but on the day that you have no class your parent decided decide to give you half of the amount of the money that you receive on the day that you have class. In this case, it is 250 baht. So what does it mean? It means that on Monday, to Thursday, in this example, you receive 500 baht. But on Friday, you receive 250 because you get half of the amount of money that you receive on the have class day. So in column D, in this case, I want you to use if function นะครับ to calculate the amount of money that you should receive นะครับ on each day too นะครับ so I want you to do these two columns to fill up these two columns column C นะครับ to show whether you have class or no class and column D the amount of money that you should receive and then นะครับ for the table นะครับ to be justified in column C and D here is varied according to the value that you enter in the second column. That means if on next trimester if you have no class on Thursday instead นะครับ let's say once you change the value to be Thursday ครับ the day that will happen is that okay it shows like this Thursday you have no class and then Thursday you get 250 instead like this I want it to be varied like this so if you use if function properly นะครับ you can change the day that you have no class and you can change the amount of money that you receive นะครับ so okay this one I give you 5 minutes นะครับ in order to fill up these two columns column C and D นะครับ by using if function นะครับ okay so this one please do it นะครับ in 5 minutes นะครับ I'll show you how do we gonna do that okay let's do it by yourself first นะครับ using basic if นะครับ to justify column C and column D okay ครับ please do it now it's 8:21 so I'll just like resume at 8:26 นะครับ to show you how do we gonna do it okay time's up นะครับ let's see how do we gonna do that นะครับ this one okay I'll just like fill up one column at a time นะครับ one column at a time so in this example นะครับ you can see that in column C in here we have to fill up the day that you have class นะครับ based on the cell F24 นะครับ on the day that we have class and we have no class in this one นะครับ be careful when you have to do it you know that we have class on Thursday นะครับ so that means the logical test that you have นะครับ the logical test that you have is what to say we have to test on the day นะครับ that we have no class in here so somebody may say that okay because in column C นะครับ we have to ask or we have to check whether it's a day that we have class or not then should we just like separate them to be Monday Tuesday Wednesday and Friday or not you don't need to do so นะครับ because on the opposite way around the day that you have no class is Thursday the rest of them should be the day that you have class instead นะครับ in this case so in here you just put equals to if นะครับ the day that you have no class นะครับ is Thursday so I'll compare with the first cell that is Monday first Monday is located in B24 นะครับ on my screen if B24 equals to นะครับ I don't need to type in because I will refer to the cell F24 นะครับ I'll say that okay if B24 equal to F24 นะครับ comma this is my logical test and I say that okay if they are equals นะครับ F24 is the day that I have no class I will show no class comma นะครับ otherwise นะครับ on the other way around if I take the opposite of like equals to that means it's in equals นะครับ or unequal so that means if that value is not equal to Thursday นะครับ is not equal to F24 or Thursday I will show have class instead so this is what I want to check นะครับ the day that I have class or not and then if I'm okay with it I'll test on the cell that I have ครับ so if I'm correct นะครับ this cell the cell C24 should display as have class yeah okay and then you can see that if I just like copy and paste that cell down Friday goes Thursday in this case goes to wrong value the reason is because you can see that the comparison that I have I compare the value or the cell the first cell B24 with F24 that is okay but on the second cell I compare B25 with F25 that is wrong already นะครับ don't forget that in this case when it happens the thing that you have to do is that you have to lock the cell นะครับ not to let the cell that you have to compare to move down in this case it means that you have to just fix or lock this cell F24 นะครับ with the absolute reference and when you have to lock นะครับ the value that we have or the symbol that you have to use is dollar sign นะครับ we will apply dollar sign on F and in front of 24 นะครับ to lock that cell นะครับ after that okay, I just copy this cell down and you can see that in this case on Thursday I have no class นะครับ if นะครับ on next trimester if I say that on Wednesday I have no class instead I change in here you can see that on Wednesday นะครับ it turns to be the day that we have no class instead okay this one is the first column นะครับ to just like have the text to be displayed on your cell okay now let's move on to column D column D we would like to find out the money that you received on a specific day นะครับ in this one we said that if we have the day that we have class นะครับ we receive 500 baht so what should I do in this one นะครับ we may have like different ways to do นะครับ I can just like tell you that it might be possible that somebody นะครับ check on compare with the day นะครับ if the day equals to Wednesday or the day that you have no class you get 500 divided by 2 I show you the first way first นะครับ and then I'll show you the second way in this one นะครับ I have to compare the day นะครับ in column B นะครับ with the value of the day in F24 once again นะครับ how it looks like in this one นะครับ I just like use the next if นะครับ I compare B24 นะครับ with F24 once again B24 นะครับ here the day in the first table with F24 or the day that we have no class so in this case when we have no class the money that we receive นะครับ is G24 divided by 2 that means you get half of it otherwise นะครับ if the day are not equal that means it's the day that you have class you get G24 instead that means you get 500 baht นะครับ in this case if we just like if we are okay with this formula you just like fill it up นะครับ in one cell first okay now let's see the color that Excel try to just like separate this kind of thing for you if B24 in blue cell equals to F24 in red cell. Yeah. If these two values are equals, that means it is the day that you have no class, because in F24 it's a day that you have no class. Then you get G24 divided by 2. G24 is the purple cell, divided by 2. Otherwise, you get the value in the purple cell, that is 500. So it means that, okay, let's see. B24 right now is Monday. Compare with Wednesday. Both values are not equal. So we get G24 is 500. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we get 500. Now let's see. I'll just copy these cells down. You can see that once again, I haven't locked the cell. That's why it just like cause the error. Then I have to lock F24 first. Sorry. I have to lock the cell F24 first. Okay, and then I copy once again. Apart from F24, G24 must be locked as well. Otherwise, the money that you receive is 0 anyway. Okay. Okay, now let's see. You can see that right now on Wednesday, you get half of 500. That is 250. On the next term, if you say that, okay, your schedule is changed, the day that you don't have class is Friday, you can see that right now, Friday, you receive 250 instead. Okay, so this is the first way that you may use to fix this problem. Okay. While somebody might just like think on different way. Okay, let me just like copy this formula into cell. Yeah, just in case you want to copy mine. Yeah. Okay, now let's see what is the other way. Another way that somebody may do is that, okay, they don't compare day here with the day that you have no class, but they just compare with column C. They just compare with column C. How do they compare? They compare that, okay, if the value in column C is have class, the money you receive is a full amount in G24. Otherwise, that person will receive like half of G24 on a specific day that you have other words instead. So what are we going to do in here? In this one, you may do like this. We say that equals to if, equals to if this cell C24 equals to double quote have class, comma, you get G24 instead. You get G24, that is 500 bahts. Otherwise, you get G24 divided by 2. And close parenthesis. So this one, we compare with the value in column C instead of the day, because the value in column C will be changed if the value in the table 2 is changed from Friday to other day as well. So they rely on the value in column C. This one, it works too. Okay, now let me just like copy this formula down. And you can see that in here, they compare C24, have class. If the value in this cell shows that it's half class, you get G24, that is 500. Otherwise, you get G24 divided by 2 or 250 instead. In this one, if I copy the formula down, you can see that the value that display in this column is the same as the value that we use the value that we use the day to compare straight away in here. So let's try. If on that trimester the day that you have class is changed again to be Tuesday that you don't have class. Sorry. You can see that in here, the money given on both columns are the same. So that's why it means that in order to use the basic if, you can use like different ways in order to get the same answer, as I show you for these two different ways. Okay, all right. Okay, then up to this point, do you have any questions about this example? Okay, if you don't have any questions, let's move on to the next subtopic. You can see that in the reality, it might be possible that we have more than one day, that we have no class. Especially for the COVID-19 situation here, you may pick the course that you would like to take, to be on just like some specific day only. For example, somebody may just like put the day that you have class on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, while Tuesday and Thursday you have no class. But if we have no class on more than one day, you can see that the table in here or the if function in here doesn't fit anymore, because you can see that it might be possible that you may just like have more than one day and then one logical test. Sorry, in if function, the basic if, you can have just like one logical test only. So that's why it might not work. That is one situation. Another one, sometimes some calculation or some decision making is based on like some steps of calculation. For example, okay, the example number 3. When you would like to calculate the commission rate of the salespeople, you can see that in here we just like compare the sales amount with $1 million only. But in the real world, when you have to calculate the commission rate, we don't just like have just the value for more than $1 million only. We may have like various value to check and various rates of the commission that you would give to the salespeople. So what should we do in here? So if you have to compare for more than one value at a time, we have to use the function that is what we call nested if to help. We have to use nested if to help. Okay, so in here let's just like copy exercise number 3 down. I'll just like put nested if, and we copy this table here. Sorry, we copy from sales rep to sales amount, and then I'll just like we have to manage that table a bit. Okay, just this one. Suppose I say that I would like this is nested if example. If I would like to calculate the commission to the commission rate to each person to each sales representative, if the company said that they have the new policy, they have the the step of calculation, the commission like this. We said that okay, the commission rate is based on the sale amount. If I say that okay, if the sales people can sell the products from $1 up to 250,000, commission rate is 1%. From 250,001 to 500,000 get 2%. 500,001 to 1 million receive 2.5%. 1 million and $1 to 200 to 2 million we receive 2.75%. 2 million and 1 to 5 million get 3%. And for anyone who can sell more than 5 million, we receive 3.5%. So you can see that if we have the sales amount like this, and the commission rate like this, just the basic if is not enough, because in one basic if you can do at most like 2 commission rates to be judged. Compare with the previous example number 3, you can see that we get either 10% or 5% of the commission. But in this one, we have so many commission rates to be justified. So in here, what are we going to do? You can see that if we have to just like justify the commission rate manually, it wastes a lot of time. And if we have like the new sales representative in the next year, you also have to manually calculate the commission rate. That wastes a lot of time. So that's why you should use the nested if to help instead. What is nested if? What is nested if? Actually, nested if is the way that we use to calculate the if function. But in this case, when you have to use the nested if, it is a bit more complex. We just actually it is similar to the regular if function. We use the regular if function to calculate or to find out the nested if. So the basic if, the syntax of basic if function is like this: if logical test, value if true, value if false. This is basic if. What is the difference between basic if and nested if? When you have nested if, it is like this. The first part, you check for logical tests. I call it as logical test 1. If it's true, value if true. Instead of specify value if true, you have another if inside. If logical test 2. And if it's true, you have value if true of logical test 2. Value if false of logical test 2, and then you close parenthesis. So you can see that this one, if you compare, it is equivalent to value if true of logical test 1. After that, okay, let me just like put the color in it so that you can see it easily. Okay, they are equal. Hang on. They are equal. After that, value if false 1. You can see that it goes like this. The value if true of logical test 1 will be replaced by the whole set of if. So that's why this one we call it as nested if, because you have another if inside one part of the value if true or value if false of the regular if. This is just like the nested if with two sets of if only. Actually, for the nested if, we can have more than just 2 tests. Just 2 tests. Now you have just 2 tests: logical test 1, logical test 2. Sometimes we also have logical test 3, logical test 4 as well. Let's see if we have logical test 3 and 4, how it looks like. Let's see. in this one you can see that for logical test 2 นะครับ when the value if true นะครับ you may have another if inside if logical test 3 นะครับ comma value if true 3 comma value if false 3 and then close parenthesis. In here the value if true 2 in here I just put with another color. You can see that right now we have 3 logical tests already 1 2 and 3 and then we have value if true of 3 นะครับ as a true part of 3 only. The rest of them will be false part of each logical test. And then you can add more and more and more tests if you want, in case that you have so many conditions to test นะครับ so normally for 2 possible value to judge นะครับ you have to use just like one if นะครับ the basic if is enough. If you have more than one value to judge, you may have to use like more than that นะครับ as I show you in here นะครับ so in here you can see that if you have like 3 value to judge, you have to use like the nested if already นะครับ and the nested if in here we have value if true, value if false 2 and value if false 1. These are 3 possible values that you judge. But if you have more than 3 values นะครับ then it means that you have to increase number of tests นะครับ in the nested if. In this one you can see that if we use 3 logical tests, you can have up to 4 different values to be judged. Value if true 3, value if false 3, value if false 2 and value if false 1 นะครับ 4 values altogether. So that means number of if will be increasing นะครับ according to number of values that you would like to test นะครับ but you have to know that actually when you have like when you have to use nested if, it is not easy as the basic if anymore. So my suggestion นะครับ if possible when you decide that you have to use nested if นะครับ in your decision making in here, flowchart might be a good choice นะครับ in order to judge for the rate for the value นะครับ of each possible thing that you have to compare. Now let's see for the value that you have to judge here. You can see that there are so many rates นะครับ there are so many rates of the commission rates that you have to judge. You can see that we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 different rates นะครับ that is applicable for each person. That means if we talk about James may have like 1 out of these 6 different rates, and we can't use like 6 different if นะครับ to judge. We have to use like many if inside if นะครับ that is what we call nested if to help. So if you see or if you remember the example in here, you can see that number of if นะครับ that you have to test นะครับ will be number of rates that you have to judge subtracted by 1. For example, if you have 2 rates of the commission, you just use 1 if. If you have 3 rates of commission, you have 2 if นะครับ Okay, now let's see how many rates do we have. We have altogether 6 rates. That means you have to use around like 5 if นะครับ put inside to each other นะครับ to judge. Okay, so in order to judge for the sales amount in here นะครับ Okay, I copy this one first and then I put in my PowerPoint. I will use the number line to help นะครับ I will use the number line to help. Okay. Now I just like put all of the value in the number line first นะครับ before I just like use the nested before I use the flow chart to help ครับ let me just like draw the number line first. Okay, and number line like this that we have, I will put the amount of money นะครับ into each point in the number line